Vishal, Farzana. Nazir. What we did in the last class?
Last class we discussed SNAT, right?
SNAT, right? And after
Yeah, SNAT.
correct. And we also discussed about health monitor, right?
Health monitors. Yes.
So both of these topics already covered, right? Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine, good. So any doubt in SNAT or health monitor?
No, as of now, sir, from my side.
Nothing else? Okay, fine. Good, good, good. So maybe we can talk about profile today. Let us talk about the persistence profile, and tomorrow we will be going to discuss about one of the major topic, that is your SSL profile and other profile. Okay, so let me go ahead and talk about the profile. Now, as you saw that by default FI-LTM does not allow anything to come and it drop the traffic by default, right? It should listen to some of the traffic. For the same, what we did, we create one object. What is that object?
Virtual server.
Virtual server, correct. So FI-LTM by default, any traffic which will come, it will deny that traffic. And to allow it, we will create a virtual server. Virtual server is bit like your IP address with the port detail, right? Now, when you have an IP address, let us say virtual server IP address is 10.10.10.10 and port is 443. Only this is allowed, this traffic is allowed. If somebody is trying to do the XSH on the same IP, okay, it is not allowed. Why? Because you haven't created the virtual server for it. But if you created the virtual server for SSH also, then that port will also get allowed. If somebody will come with 80, okay, or maybe 23 or whatever other port, that will get rejected for sure. Okay, everything will be rejected until or unless you don't have that specific virtual server available. Is this part clear? Now, similarly, we should have some of the profiles on the virtual server. So everything, now you will see that multiple of the things we will be attaching on this virtual server. And one of them, SNAT, I already talked about. In the SNAT, I talked about like you have two type of SNAT. One is automap. One is pool. So when we have automap, why we should go for the pool? Anybody? Important question.
The connection got exhausted and we have a pool so that we can number of connection got exhausted, then we can use the another IP in the pool.
Vishal, your voice is little bit low. Can you speak again?
If the number of connection got exhausted in automap, we can
Right.
have another IP in pool so that
Right. And what is the limit?
64,000 K.
Right. So if 64,000 number is exceeding, you can see the logs. Okay. Later on, I will tell you how to check the logs through the CLI. So in the logs, you can see there are some message coming in like port exhaustion. Okay. Because you don't have enough ports available now. So limit is 2 raised to power 16, which leads to 65535. First 1000 ports are well-known ports. Okay. We have read all of these things during our CCNA days. So left are approximately 64,000. If your 64,000 active sessions are there for an specific VIP, it is VIP specific, okay, not the total. So, give me a minute. It should be total, not the VIP specific, right? Because every VIP should be going to the same IP. Now, if we have 64,000 connections, concurrent connections on our device, then then it will throw the error that, okay, ports are exhausted. For the same, we can have more than one IP, we can have two IP. If we have two IP, the total limit would be 128. Even if it is exhausting, we can have one more IP, which will add 64K more, right? So just like that, you can add as much as IPs for the capability of your device should be considered. Any doubt? Farjana, if you are speaking something, I am not able to hear. I can see you are unmuting yourself.
No, sir, nothing.
Okay. Now, this is one thing. Second thing, when on your virtual server, you want some kind of more customization, you add another object named as profile. So SNet, I already described. Now I am talking about profile. In the profile, there are multiple profile in LTM, multiple profile, what you will be, aware of in coming session. But today, I am talking about one of the profile named as persistence. Very important. Okay. So what is a persistence profile that we will be gonna check, and you will understand the, why it should be placed on the virtual server. Secondly, if you attach a wrong persistence profile, it can impact your environment. So we need to see how we can avoid the wrong information. Is this fine so far? Let me share my PPT. Please do let me know if PPT is visible to everybody.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So try to understand the basic behavior of any of the load balancer. If there is a load balancer, some users are sitting here. The users are coming to the load balancer for some of the application, let us say xyz.com. There would be a virtual server where they will come, let us say 1.1.1.180. To this virtual server, there must be a pool associated. On that pool, there would be some pool member. So backend pool member can be n number of the backend pool member. Let us say 10, 10, 10, 1, dot 2, dot 3. So what basic behavior says that when traffic 1 will come, LTM will see that, okay, this traffic should go to some of the pool member, let us say here. Okay. Then after some time, this is generating some traffic 2. Okay, it will see 1 is already engaged. You go to the 2 because 2 is free now. Then after some time, this also initiates 3. Again, LTM will check that, it will say, okay, go to the 3 because 3 is less utilized now. And similarly, your any load balancer will distribute traffic uniformly among the pool members. So whatever pool members you have, it will uniformly distribute the traffic. Only the condition is they should be up and they should be capable enough to handle the traffic. If such is the scenario, it will just distribute uniform. So this is default behavior. And now we are altering that default behavior. Okay, we are making the change into that default behavior. Why we are making the change, that you will understand in a moment. But for now, you can see that if this PC is coming, okay, the PC number 1, traffic 1 is coming, it is sending to the server. 1, 2 is coming, sending to the server. 3 is coming, sending to the server. 1 only. Similarly, here, PC2, when just it came, it went to the server 4. And all the subsequent sessions are gonna ended up on the server 4 only. So it is also named as session stickiness. That your session stick with something, okay, some server. So session stickiness or the persistence, these are two different words in different vendors. Citrix use session stickiness, but in F5 it is named as persistent. So that is what the persistence is. Now let's talk about some more information so that you can understand it better way. If you see it, this is a client. It went to some of the server, open that site, that home page open. Again, it is checking some maybe some another page on that specific website. Let us say about us or something like, okay. Server send that reply and the session is over. It is checking with service. Service response is there and session is again over. But in case of some, e-commerce website, you cannot have such kind of interaction. That will be low. So for the same, your sessions should be sticky with some of the server. Otherwise, it will, it will be a problem. Because if you are adding something into the cart, you added one thing, and second time you wanted to edit some another thing in the cart, same cart, and it will ask that, okay, you provide me your username and password again. Okay, so that will be a problem. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Use case is understood.
Right.
Where
So
exactly it is
how
used?
we
Yeah.
need to do that, I will be going to explain in a moment. Okay. But for
Okay.
now, I was talking about session stickiness, which is also named as session affinity or sticky session. Okay. What we can say is, let me write down here. We can say session affinity, or we can also say sticky session. Session. Okay. These are the, interchange term, maybe you can say, in terms of your load balancing. So it is nothing. It refers to a practice of directing a user session to the same server or to the same backend node for the some duration. What is that duration timing? That I will be explaining you in a moment. Okay. How many type of session stickiness is there? That also I will be gonna explain. But for now, this is something named as stateful interaction. How stateful interaction? Because your FI device or your device is aware about that it maintain the user specific data. So let me show. See, it went for some of the site. That site is aware now that there is a user, okay, and it is maintaining that database. Okay, then the user came for something and it added the alarm. That alarm is now here on the website. User is watching something else and will add this also. And when it add, your server will know that user have selected 2 things. Similarly, 3 things, similarly, 4 things. But at the old time, that this data is aware for the server also. Let us say if server is not there. Okay, currently it is interacting with the server. But in between, there is an LTM device as well. And after the LTM, there are some servers. So this data can be seen on the LTM. Which data? Not this whole data, but user session can be seen there. Okay. So you can see the user session. How to see that I will tell. Okay. But this thing is clear. I hope that what is session stickiness. So session stickiness means you are applying a profile, and after that profile, your data is seen there. Okay. No doubt so far. Okay, good. So let me now talk about the FI perspective, like with FI perspective, how we apply this and how we can modify our. Now, in this specific diagram, you are able to see there is one customer, okay, and this customer wanted to go for some of the, let us say, transactions. Now, when this customer is going to for some of the transaction, that transaction happened on server 1, okay, server 1, and this decision was taken by using the load balancing mechanism. Which is another topic we will cover later on. Okay, this is a full-fledged your class for the load balancing mechanism. But for now, you just understand user come, load balancing mechanism checked, depending upon server 1 selected. Okay, server 1 is now responding, and that response is sent back to the client. That is how your first transaction happened. In case of second transaction, no load balancing mechanism will come into the picture. No load balancing mechanism will come into the picture. And the reason is we have some profile named as persistence profile. Due to this profile, F5 maintain a session table. Okay. Again, this is a partial truth because I need to describe about different persistence method. But in some persistence method, it maintains a session table. And F5 will see when traffic will come, it will see I have a session table. Fine. For this particular client, since entry is there in the session table, how to see the session table? I will tell you, don't worry. Okay. So client will see I have a session table. Now I need not to do the load balancing. Let it be get forwarded to the backend pool. So this session table will describe that this is the client, this is the virtual server, this is the pool, this is the pool member, okay, which you will see in some time. Since in session table, everything is there. So no load balancing lookup will be checked and data will be forwarded directly to your pool member. Is it clear? Or any doubt?
Yes, clear.
Clear, sir.
Oh,
So by default, this persistent is on, or we
no,
need
by
to
default
activate?
it is not enabled.
Not enable. Okay.
Okay, by default it is not enabled, but you can see that end to end all traffic is now entertained by your one of the backend pool member. Okay, so let me describe the first type of persistence what we can apply on our FI device, and that is source address affinity. So you can also say source address persistence, or it is named as source address affinity persistence. How to apply that I will tell. But on your virtual server, there is only one setting. You need to just tick it mark. Okay, not a very big deal. You will understand in a moment. But for now, you just see that on your virtual server, you are applying the persistence, and persistence type is source address persistence. This source address says that on depending upon client source, I will apply the persistence. So let us say if it is /32 IP, okay, /32 is subnet, you are already aware. So all the traffic from this particular user for the time being will go to the, if server 1 is selected, it will keep on going to the server 1. Whereas if it is, let us say /24, and these all are coming into the one range. So 3 server and 2 and 3 client, if this server 3 is selected, both of them will be sending the traffic to server 3 only. And if there are more PCs in the same range, okay, all of the traffic will be gonna keep on coming on server 3. So you can see how it can impact your application. One of the application server can be maximum utilized if you don't apply the persistence correctly. Getting my point? Okay. So let me describe about it. Source address persistence. In source address persistence, as you can see here, that it support your TCP and UDP protocols both. Okay, direct traffic to the same server based upon the client source IP address. But there is a very big limitation. Okay, let me just describe about that limitation also, so that you people can understand. You guys are aware, let us say there is an organization. Okay, there is some partner. And in that partner, there are, let us say, 1,000 users are there who are accessing our application. And this application is xyz.com, any application. We have 4 servers. Okay. But obvious in their organization, in the partner organization, which is ABC, there are 1,000 users. All of them should have a private IP internally. But when they are going out, there should be a proxy or some kind of netting device should be there who is netting it over a public IP. And when this specific user will come on your F5, first time load balancing mechanism will be done and server 2 is selected. Okay. After some time, this is server, this is client 1 who was, going to the xyz.com. After some time, client 2 is coming. Since source will be same, F5 will see, go to the server 2. After some time, client 3 is coming. Since source is again same, it will say, go to the server 2. And all the users will go through same source. And that is the reason everything will be forwarded to the server. Are you getting this point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So in such scenarios, it can be a problem because your one of the server may be heavily utilized and rest of them may be less utilized.